The ongoing conflict in Gaza has been a source of global concern and debate for decades. However, recent developments have added a new layer of complexity to the situation, with Saudi Arabia and Russia issuing stern warnings to the United States regarding its support for Israel in the region. This diplomatic clash raises questions about the balance of power in the Middle East, the role of major players like the US, Saudi Arabia, and Russia, and the potential consequences for the people of Gaza. In this essay, we will delve into the intricacies of this warning, exploring the historical context, geopolitical dynamics, and the implications of Saudi Arabia and Russia's calls for the US to intervene and stop Israel's actions in Gaza. To fully understand the current warnings issued by Saudi Arabia and Russia, it is essential to examine the historical context of the Gaza conflict. The origins of this conflict can be traced back to the late 1940s with the establishment of the State of Israel. This event led to a displacement of Palestinian Arabs, creating a deep-rooted resentment and a complex web of territorial disputes. Gaza, a small strip of land along the Mediterranean coast, has been a focal point of tension in the region. Since the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel has maintained control over Gaza, leading to frequent clashes with Palestinian groups, most notably Hamas. These confrontations have resulted in significant loss of life and property on both sides, with Gaza's civilian population often bearing the brunt of the violence. Saudi Arabia and Russia, despite their vastly different geographical and cultural backgrounds, share a common interest in the Gaza conflict, which prompts their warnings to the United States. Let's delve into their respective motivations and interests in this matter. For Saudi Arabia, the Palestinian cause has long been a symbol of Arab unity and solidarity. The kingdom sees itself as a protector of Muslim holy sites and a supporter of the Palestinian people. Saudi leaders view the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories as a grave injustice and a threat to regional stability. Consequently, they have been advocating for a peaceful resolution to the conflict that would grant Palestinians their rights and establish a viable Palestinian state. On the other hand, Russia's interests in the Gaza conflict are more complex. Moscow has historically maintained diplomatic ties with both Israel and various Palestinian factions, including the Palestinian Authority led by President Mahmoud Abbas and the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip. Russia's involvement in the Middle East has increased significantly in recent years, as it seeks to assert itself as a major player in the region. By issuing warnings to the US concerning Israel's actions in Gaza, Russia aims to strengthen its position as a mediator in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and as a counterbalance to American influence in the Middle East. The United States has been a long-standing ally of Israel and has provided significant military, financial, and political support to the Israeli government. This support has been a source of contention in the region, as many nations, including Saudi Arabia and Russia, view it as one-sided and detrimental to the peace process. In recent years, the US government under various administrations has taken steps that further aligned it with Israeli interests. These actions include recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, brokering agreements between Israel and Arab states, and maintaining a strong military partnership with Israel. While the US has consistently expressed support for a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, its policies and actions have often been perceived as favoring Israel. Against this backdrop, Saudi Arabia and Russia's warnings to the United States to stop Israel in Gaza now come as a significant diplomatic development. These warnings reflect growing frustration and concern among these countries about the ongoing violence and instability in the region, and they challenge the US's role as the primary mediator in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Saudi Arabia's warning to the United States is driven by its desire to assert its influence in the region, protect the rights of Palestinians, and maintain its leadership position within the Arab world. The Saudi government has repeatedly called for a two-state solution, where Israel and Palestine exist side by side, with East Jerusalem as the capital of the Palestinian state. The kingdom views the US's unwavering support for Israel as a major obstacle to achieving this goal. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has been vocal about his concerns regarding the Gaza conflict. He has urged the US to pressure Israel to halt its military operations in Gaza, citing the humanitarian crisis and civilian casualties. Saudi Arabia has also pledged financial assistance to the Palestinians, providing humanitarian aid to alleviate the suffering in Gaza. Russia's warning to the United States is part of its broader strategy to expand its influence in the Middle East and establish itself as a key player in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Moscow has positioned itself as a mediator that can engage with both Israeli and Palestinian leadership, and it has hosted various peace talks and negotiations in recent years. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has expressed concern about the escalating violence in Gaza and has called on the U.S. to use its influence to de-escalate the situation. Russia's warnings are not just about advocating for peace, but also about positioning itself as an alternative mediator in the region, challenging the U.S.'s dominant role. In the quest for a peaceful resolution to the Gaza conflict, it is crucial to acknowledge the complexity of the situation on the ground. The grievances, historical narratives, and security concerns of both Israelis and Palestinians must be addressed in any meaningful negotiation process. Moreover, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza demands immediate attention, as the suffering of innocent civilians cannot be allowed to continue. One key challenge in the path to peace is building trust between the parties involved. Decades of conflict and animosity have eroded trust on both sides, making it difficult to engage in productive dialogue. Confidence-building measures, such as halting settlement construction, easing restrictions on the movement of goods and people, and reducing violence, can help create an atmosphere conducive to negotiation. Another critical aspect of the peace process is the role of the Palestinian leadership. Achieving Palestinian unity and a single unified voice in negotiations is essential for any meaningful progress. The divisions between Fatah, which controls the West Bank, and Hamas, which governs Gaza, have hindered efforts to present a united front in peace talks. Regional players like Saudi Arabia and Russia can play a constructive role in fostering Palestinian unity. The international community also has a vital role to play in advancing the peace process. The United Nations and other international organizations can provide diplomatic support, monitor ceasefire agreements, and coordinate humanitarian assistance. Diplomatic efforts should aim to bring all stakeholders to the negotiating table with the goal of establishing a just and lasting solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Addressing the core issues at the heart of the conflict, such as borders, refugees, Jerusalem, and security, will be challenging but necessary. Any peace agreement must be based on the principles of international law, including the recognition of the right to self-determination for both Israelis and Palestinians. Jerusalem, a city of great religious significance to multiple faiths, should have a special status that respects the rights and beliefs of all its residents. The issue of refugees, a central and sensitive concern, requires a comprehensive solution that addresses the rights and needs of Palestinian refugees while acknowledging the realities on the ground. Creative solutions including compensation, resettlement, and reconciliation should be explored to provide a fair resolution. Security concerns on both sides must also be taken seriously. Israel's right to exist and ensure the safety of its citizens must be acknowledged and respected. At the same time, Palestinians deserve to live in dignity and without the constant threat of violence. Robust security arrangements and international guarantees can help address these concerns. In conclusion, the warnings from Saudi Arabia and Russia to the United States regarding Israel's actions in Gaza highlight the urgent need for a peaceful resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This complex and long-standing issue requires diplomatic efforts, regional cooperation, and international involvement to address the geopolitical implications and the humanitarian crisis. The path forward is challenging, but it is not insurmountable. Building trust, achieving Palestinian unity, and addressing the core issues of the conflict are essential steps. The international community, including the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Russia, must work together to create the conditions for meaningful negotiations that respect the rights and aspirations of all parties involved. Only through a just and lasting resolution can the people of Gaza and the broader Middle East move towards a more stable and peaceful future. Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure the notification bell is turned on so you don't miss a video.